Today on Dr. Zoon, you'll design a custom cruiser. First, you'll get an idea for a cruiser design, then you'll transfer your design onto a balsa wood blank. You'll cut your design out on the bandsaw before painting and applying decals.
Hello kids! Today we're going to be working with the custom cruiser activity. We're going to be designing a custom cruiser that is a car or a vehicle of your design or of one that has been designed before, and we're going to make it into a real car. A great way to start the activity is to look through some books and videos and even on the internet for car designs that you really like. If you'll pick out a design that is attractive to you, you'll enjoy the building process a lot more. Let's take a look at some different designs. One exciting possibility would be a futuristic car design like this one. You might be interested in making a classic car like this '56 Buick hardtop. One of these roadsters might be a fine automobile for you to try and copy. This '51 Mercury Coupe would be a fine-looking car going down the fast track. You may want to go with something newer like a Volkswagen Beetle. I'm going to show you a few examples of some custom cruisers that kids just like you have built. This is an example of a concept car, a concept that the student came up with in his or her head and then made into an actual vehicle. Notice the fine finish on it. The smooth lines are very aerodynamic and very attractive. It does include a hole in the back end for CO2. And also notice on the bottom side, it's hollowed out to lighten the car. This is an example of a concept car that uses more of a sports car motif. Notice the details on this car. The rear view mirrors, the trim around the windows. Notice also the spoiler at the back of the car, which directs air downward to give you more friction on the back end of the car. Notice also that the underneath side of this vehicle has been hollowed out as well to keep the weight down. This is a model of a '50s style pickup truck. Lots of detail to it, including the hand painting of the flames on this finish. You'll notice that all these custom cruisers have a lot more frontal area, thereby giving them more aerodynamic drag than the standard dragster. All of these vehicles are scale models. Scale models are called that because they're built to a scale that is a ratio of the real model to the scale model. In most scale models, this ratio may be like 1 to 20 or a 1/20th scale model. That is, if you had a 20-foot long car in a 1/20th scale, your scale model would be 1 foot long, which is about the size or length of your dragster body. Before you finalize your design, you need to check with your instructor and find out if there are any specific specifications for your competition. Once you've decided what car you're going to build, we'll need to develop a top view and a side view for that car. If your car is a concept car, in other words, if you are going to do the design on the car, then you'll need to draft or sketch out a side view and a top view of that car. If you're going to copy a classical car, then you'll need to find either on the internet or in a book or wherever you can a picture of that car and then scale it down using a photocopier or some such device so that you can get a side view and a top view of that vehicle. For the custom cruiser activity, we'll use the Pittsco Custom Cruiser Kit. Let's open it up and see what's inside. Inside, I found a balsa wood blank that is 3 inches by 3 inches by 12 inches, and it includes a hole drilled for the cartridge. We also have 2 aluminum axles and 2 straws which act as the axle bearings. The kit includes 4 black Fusion tires and 4 styrene paintable hubs to match. These hubs can be painted with spray paint or acrylic paint to match the finish on your car. There are 4 brass washers to keep the body from rubbing against the tires, and there are 2 screw eyes to keep the car on the track as it goes down during the race. The kit also includes an 8-gram CO2 cartridge, which is the power to propel the car down the track. And of course, you're going to need a piece of sandpaper, or maybe some more, to do your car. Also included in the kit are instructions to provide further advice in your vehicle construction. In thinking about the kind of car that I wanted to build, I thought back to my high school days and the 1966 Mustang that I had then. So that's what I decided to build for our demonstration car. I went on the internet and found this picture, which is a nice side view of a 1966 Ford Mustang Coupe. I printed out the picture of the Mustang and then on the photocopier enlarged it so it just fit from side to side on a length of standard paper. This will make it just about the right size to go on our basswood blank. You can see that the length of the car is just about the same length as our blank. Now the process will be to transfer this side view onto the blank. You'll need to find out from your instructor if you're going to do a prototype for your custom cruiser vehicle. If you're going to do a styrofoam prototype, then you can watch my dragster design video. Or if you're going to do a clay car prototype, then you can watch the clay car video that I've done as well. I'm going to go ahead and work on a side view of my Mustang by transferring the outline of the Mustang onto a plain piece of typing paper by using a piece of carbon paper. We'll place the carbon paper over our typing paper and then place our full-size copy of the car on top of the carbon copy. And now we're ready to transfer the outline of the Mustang to the paper. We'll cover the outline of the car in pencil, and we'll try and stay right on the very outskirts of the car body as we go all the way around it. Let's remove the full-size copy and the carbon paper. And here we have our drawing of our Mustang. This will give us a good point of reference for our body style and where things will go on our model. We're going to take the copy that we just made and we're going to cut out the outline of the car so that we can put it on our dragster blank and position it exactly where we want it. There we go. We have the outline of our Mustang now. We'll place the outline of our car on the dragster blank such that the hole for the cartridge lines up with the back end of the car and we have plenty of body around the dragster cartridge hole. Once we have the outline of our Mustang properly placed on the dragster blank, we'll draw around the outside of the outline with a pencil, indicating where we'll cut. And we finish up the outline. We'll remove the outline of the Mustang and we'll see that we have our Mustang now on the body blank. Before we drill our holes and cut out the dragster blank, I'm going to add just a little bit of wood around the dragster axle holes just to make sure that they have enough strength and the axle holes don't split out. Before we cut out our custom cruiser blank, we'll need to drill the axle holes for the axles. Now this can be a challenge because these blocks are 3 inches thick. Depending upon the drill press that you have and the drill bit that you have, you may have to do a little bit of problem solving with your instructor to make this happen. Small drill presses only have a distance travel of about 2 inches, and most ordinary bits are only about 3 inches long. If you can find a bit that is 6 inches long, like this one, then it will travel all the way through the dragster blank. Check with your instructor to see what tools and equipment are available for you to use. I went ahead and drilled the holes in my custom cruiser. You may have to drill your holes differently, so I didn't show that on this videotape. I do need to go over with you, though, the bandsaw operation, because these blanks are 3 inches wide and must be cut on a bandsaw. Get permission and training required from your instructor before using the bandsaw. Always wear safety glasses or goggles. Make sure the teeth of the saw blade point downward. Adjust the upper blade guide about 1/8 inch above the material being cut. Make sure blade tension and blade tracking are properly adjusted. Always keep hands and fingers away from the blade. Stop the machine before removing scrap pieces from the table. Hold the material being cut firmly against the table. Do not attempt to saw stock that does not have a flat surface unless it's properly supported. Hold the material firmly and feed into the blade at a moderate rate. Don't force the saw. Turn the saw off if the material is to be backed out of an uncompleted or jammed cut. Make release cuts before cutting long curves. Shut off power and clean the area before leaving the machine. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the side view of my Mustang with the bandsaw now. So there we have our cutout custom cruiser. Once we have the car body cut out, we need to add detail to it using tools like the Dremel tool, sanding stick, sandpaper sponge, and the carving tool set. To transfer the outline to the car body, we'll place a piece of carbon paper on the edge of the bottom of the car body, and then place our outline over the top of that, lining the outline up with the outside of the car body, and then taping it in place. We'll take our pencil and mark the important distinctions of the car onto the car body. We can go right over the tape because the carbon paper doesn't care. We'll remove the carbon paper and the outline and see that we have marks on our body blank that will show us where to make cuts. From this point, it's really a problem-solving activity for you to decide what tools and equipment you'll use to make what cuts. If you have any questions, get with your instructor and do some brainstorming with them to find out how to do some of these processes. Also, you'll want to reference, as you go through, side views of your car that you're going to make. If available, an orthogonal view like this, and even a rear view like this. Now, some of you also may have top views, which will not be a square like this. In that case, you'll need to have cut out a top view of your dragster as well. After a lot of carving, drilling, sanding, and etc., I have come up with my final model before finishing of my '66 Mustang. I'm ready to put the finishing touches on my custom cruiser. I'm going to use the same processes that I discussed in my dragster finishing video, So watch that if you have any questions about finishing your custom cruiser. In addition to those tips, you'll need to use anything that you can to make your custom cruiser as lifelike as possible. Well, I've finished my 1966 Mustang, and you can see that I've painted it white, added red pinstripes, painted the windows with a silver paint pen, and I put on some custom Pittsco Nitro wheels with some nice chrome hubs on it as well. I've even made provision for our CO2 cartridge in the back of the car where normally you would find the gas tank lid. The cartridge would go in right here. Compare the original picture to my finished 1966 Mustang Custom Cruiser. Hopefully you can see the similarities. Kids, I really enjoyed building my custom cruiser, and I think that you'll enjoy building yours as well. So until next time, we'll see you real soon.